It's Friday, April 21st, 2023. Markets closed a few hours ago, pretty flat across the board. And it really amazes me, I'm sure it amazes a lot of you, that with all of the data, with all the news, all the layoffs, a failing economy, it's just amazing the power that they have to keep these markets afloat. There's such a detachment from reality, from the stock market to Main Street and what's happening in the economy. And I want to share some articles with you today, some of my thoughts. Please feel free to comment down below your thoughts on the economy, what's happening in your areas. Anything you want to comment about, please comment. Please give this video a like. Make sure you share it all over the place and make sure you subscribe. But I want to start with this first article coming from the economiccollapse.com, Michael Snyder's website. 5 economic disasters we were warned about in advance that are happening right now. And interestingly enough, I received I don't know if it was a comment or a message yesterday, I don't remember, somebody saying that I've been talking about this for 4 years. So I guess because I spoke about it 4 years ago, that it's not happening today, or that it should have happened 2 years ago. I don't understand. So I spoke about this stuff 4 years ago, 5 years ago, so I'm not sure what the point of that is, other than it looks like what I've been saying, what many of you have been saying, is beginning to happen right now. And what people don't understand is bubbles. Bubbles don't inflate overnight and then just burst. They take years. This bubble is going to be a record breaker. It's going to be historic because it's been inflating for so many years and gotten so big. And every time it begins to leak, they slap a Band-Aid on it. And that's why this is going to be the worst economic collapse the U.S. has ever seen. And I want to go over this article and why it is warning all of us that things have begun. The wheels are in motion. So it doesn't matter if somebody predicted this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago. The bottom line is this: it's happening right now. And to this person, what have you done over the last 4 years? Have you prepared? Do you think things were better 4 years ago than today? Take a look. I mean, when people say this stuff, I think it proves our point, how misled people are, how delusional they are. Take a look at where we were 4 years ago and look at where we're at today. Take a look at inflation 4 years ago versus today. Look at employment. Look at the economy. Look at gas prices. Look at the purchasing power of your dollar. Just look at what's happening geopolitically 4 years ago versus today. Were we in talks or on the verge of World War III 4 years ago? Look at where we're at today. Look at the debt today. Look at just the trade deficit we have today versus 4 years ago. It's ridiculous how much worse things have gotten over the last 4 years ago. And people still don't want to admit it. But I wanted to share this article with you, and I just jotted down some notes, and I'm going to paraphrase here a little bit. Number one, we were warned that a great commercial real estate crisis would be coming. Now, I can tell you, since I've been making videos over, 5 years, at least 3 years ago, we were out filming the store closures, the vacant commercial real estate from 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. So this is nothing new, but now it's becoming real. It's escalating. Brookfield just defaulted on $161.4 million of commercial real estate in Washington, D.C. I believe this was on 12 office buildings. $400 billion in commercial real estate debt matures by the end of this year alone. So a few years ago, I talked about it. Many of you commented down below reporting seeing a lot of vacancies in your areas, in your cities years ago. And now here we are. It's getting much, much worse. And at some point, this will all come to a head. 2, we were warned of widespread layoffs as economic conditions deteriorate. We talked about this years ago too, that people will begin to lose jobs in America because the economy is slowing down. The only reason things continue to go on this long is because of all the money printing. You're talking $7 trillion injected into the US economy in a 30-month span. That's incredible. So we have trillions of dollars that have been injected into the markets, into the economy, band-aiding this bubble. And they just kept inflating the bubbles in the stock market, in housing, and now we got big trouble. And we're going to see many, many more layoffs. And I think that this is going to continue to get worse, much worse into 2024. 3, we were warned that the largest corporate debt bubble in the history of the world would eventually burst. So more companies around the world have defaulted on their debts in the first 3 months of this year than in any quarter since late 2020. We're going to see so many zombie companies default and go out of business. We're going to see more and more companies cut the fat. Means workers, employees, workforce are going to shrink. Many companies are going to go out of business. Big ones, medium ones, and large ones. There's no stopping this avalanche, ladies and gentlemen. And we're literally one snowflake away from this avalanche going out of control. And nobody's going to stop it. It's just a matter of when that one snowflake lands on the avalanche, lands on that mountain, and causes this massive avalanche. Number 4, we were warned that we would witness a dramatic surge in bankruptcies. This March, bankruptcies are up 17% compared to a year ago. That's a big number. And we're going to see bankruptcies, corporate, household, personal, you name it. We're going to see big trouble here in regards to bankruptcies. We were warned that the rest of the world would eventually start, this is number 5, that the rest of the world would start rejecting the US dollar. Now we are witnessing the de-dollarization of the US dollar accelerate at a very, very stunning pace. And many of you spoke about this years ago, that eventually the dollar is going to be in big trouble. And now you're watching this all over media, all over now, admitting that the dollar is on borrowed time. And when this happens, people are going to have no idea what just hit them. You know, I worry about the people. And this is for the people that are going to wake up one day and they're going to say, what just happened? What just happened? They're going to want to blame a politician. They're going to want to blame a banker. They're going to want to blame somebody other than themselves. And I beg all of you right now, don't let this be you. Wake up that day and be the person that knows exactly what just happened. The person that can access their money, their assets, the person who has the food and water and the mindset and the preparations ready to go. The person who isn't going to be taken by surprise here. Because the people who are taken by surprise, the people that wake up one day and find out that they have absolutely nothing, that their paper, that their dollars are worthless, these are the people who are going to panic. I sleep very good at night. I'm sure most of you sleep very good at night because you have a cash reserve put away. You have some tangible assets like gold and silver put away. You're paying down your debts. You're working an extra side hustle. You're putting away more capital. You're doing whatever it takes. But most of all, you're awake and you're aware and you're continuing to absorb knowledge and getting in a mental mindset for what's coming. Too many people don't realize that this isn't going to just be financial. There is going to be a social price we're going to pay here. Crime is going to be nuts. Things are going to be chaotic. Things could get they will get very, very violent. They already are. We just have not ever seen a country where people are starving, where people don't have work, where people aren't getting free money. When the government begins to shut down, and we see municipalities shut down, or to the point where inflation is so high that if you're getting a government check, it just doesn't buy anything, or the grocery stores are just so lean on food that the shelves are wiped out, you're going to see very, very serious trouble. And I pray to God that this never happens. But as many of you are realists, I'm a realist. And the reality is we're going to see some big trouble. We're already seeing big trouble right now. You look at crime, you look at this economy, you look at the amount of spending that's going on. We cannot stop spending. That's a big, big problem right there. We're not going to stop spending. We're going to raise the debt ceiling. We're going to cause more inflation. And this ends up in a very, very bad place. CNBC, Google's 80-acre San Jose mega campus is on hold as company reckons with economic downturn. Google has halted construction of its proposed 80-acre campus in San Jose, California. Some sources, says in the article, close to the development told CNBC that the company doesn't have plans to revive the project. So this, again, another warning of just how bad the U.S. economy is. And it's getting much worse. The 80-acre campus would have 7.3 million square feet of office space. The estimated economic impact is $19 billion. This is going to really hurt San Jose. They had 15 acres of parks, thousands of units of housing, all this under construction, and now it's going to sit there and look like a demolition zone, a giant eyesore. This is going to be huge, a huge economic impact on San Jose. What does Google know? They know that things are slowing down, and they're going to slow down much, much more. Another one from CNBC, David Reicher, Lyft's new CEO, begins tenure with layoffs, reportedly cutting 1,200 jobs. That's 30% of the company's 4,000 workers. Back in November, they cut 13%. So again, another barometer of what's happening here. And when do we begin to see, please comment down below, when do we begin to see the Airbnb sector begin to get hurt? I just don't see how people are going to continue to take the vacations, how they're going to travel. And look, I'll tell you right now, I was on I-10 today. Coachella Fest is out here. Hundreds of thousands of people are out here. I-10 heading east was bumper to bumper, an absolute nightmare. I think it's $650 for a weekend ticket. Motel 6s are going for $600 a night. People are flying in from all over the world, flying in from all over the country. Where are they getting it from? Well, somebody told me that they're doing a lot of the buy now, pay laters, a lot of credit cards. Parents are flipping the bill for this. And so you just look at where we're at today in society and how people just continue to waste their money. Young people have no idea what's coming, what's going on right now. And I watch this and you would think that there's not one issue whatsoever with the U.S. economy. But what we don't see is the amount of debt, the amount of borrowing that is taking place in order to fuel this lifestyle of live today, worry about it tomorrow, buy now, pay later. And that's exactly how people are living. They're buying now, paying later. They're going to live for today, worry about it later. And these are the people that are going to pay a very, very huge price. How many of those people have any money put away? How many of them have any gold and silver put away? How many of them would survive if the electricity went out for 2 weeks? Probably 99% of them would not. And that doesn't mean that these are bad people, but these are people who, in my opinion, are brain dead. They are zombies. And these are going to be the people that more than likely you're going to have to worry about down the road, because they're going to get thirsty. They're going to get hungry. They're going to get desperate. And when they cannot take over a Walmart because it's closed down, or a Walgreens or a local Target or whatever, when those stores close, they're coming to your house, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you have security. I cannot stress the asset of security. Next to God, security is the number one asset. If you don't have security right now, you need to be working on that this weekend. Here's another one. Whole Foods plans to lay off several hundred corporate employees. Again, another reflection of what is happening to the U.S. economy. This came out yesterday, Thursday. And if you've been to a Whole Foods, it's one of the most overpriced grocery stores there is. Not impressed by them whatsoever. But again, it's just another barometer, another reflection of this economy. And we're going to see places like Whole Foods. You know, it starts with, you know, people losing hours, then they lose jobs, and then the stores close. So as we've seen Walmart's and Walgreens and so many stores closing, we'll begin to see the Whole Foods close also. Here's one from Bloomberg. Why the Repo Man is back. And this, to me, says it all. And we've talked about this now for probably a year as the repo business is just getting started. It says here, boom times are coming for the Repo Man. If you are looking for a job or a side hustle, get in the repo business because you're going to be very, very busy and you're going to make a lot of money. You know, some people say, I just don't have the conscience to do that. But nobody told people to go out and buy a car when they were not working, to go out and buy a car and pay $1,200 a month for a Charger or a Challenger without a job while they weren't paying rent. And people are going to get exactly what they deserve. And I'm not saying that's all people. There's good-hearted people out there working 2 jobs that are really hurting right now, that are going to lose their cars, that are paycheck to paycheck, that are barely just getting by. And we should be helping those people. The system should be helping people who want to work, who want to help themselves, but it won't do that. But we got a lot of people out there that took advantage of the system, who didn't pay their rent, who just wanted to party, who thought that the party would never end, that the system was going to pay them forever. So let's go get $1,000 or $1,200 Charger payment and worry about it later. Pay now, buy now, pay later. And that's exactly what's happening. And here we are. The piper is going to get paid, ladies and gentlemen. The Repo Man is coming. The Repo Man is going to get paid. So it says here, thanks to rate hikes, elevated inflation, and mounting layoffs, the outlook is bleak. So these people a year or two ago, sitting at home, not paying rent, putting down a large down payment with money that they didn't even earn for producing absolutely nothing, taking stimulus checks, taking $600 unemployment checks. How long did they think that this was going to last before that things came back to reality, before they'd have to go back to work, or maybe think that maybe we won't have a job to return to, so maybe we shouldn't buy a car right now? So as they've destroyed their credit for not paying rent, now the Repo Man's looking for their car. It's going to get much, much worse. There's just not enough money to go around. And when auto loan payments are neglected, the Repo Man comes calling. All-time high interest rates on credit cards with all-time high debt is a troubling warning sign, ladies and gentlemen. It is a perfect storm. And newsflash for people out there, there are more rate hikes coming. Markets are continuing to fight the idea of this. They are fighting reality, but there are more rate hikes coming. And so we see this market, you know, pretty flat today, pretty flat, I think, all week overall. But why isn't it crashing? It believes that the Fed's going to pivot. It's hoping that the Fed is going to pivot. And if the Fed does do that, we're going to have big, big problems because we're going to have hyperinflation. But how many people out there right now are hiding their cars? How many people are running from the Repo Man? The Repo Man is coming for you if you're not making your car payment. If you thought it was more important to not pay your rent and go buy a $1,200 Charger or Challenger and overpay, now you're going to pay the real price here. And again, we have millions of people who have done this. And what are these people going to do when their cars are repoed, when the credit cards get shut off, when they lose a job, when their hours get cut, real wages are going down, the savings rate is going down? What are these people going to do? This is right now, everything's fine, but is it? I mean, this is really the tip of the iceberg. And when we look under the water, 20 million people, households, could not pay their utility bills. Where am I? Another one. I had to find out if this was true. This was also on the economiccollapse.com. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Capital One shut off all dealer floor plans, aka inventory lines of credit. Dealers don't buy those cars on the lots. They borrow the money, and rates have been so low that they've been able, you know, over the years to buy massive amounts of cars. It's not uncommon to go to a car lot with 700 or 1,000 new cars or more sitting on the lot because they could borrow money cheap and put massive amounts of inventory on their car lots. Well, That's about to change, and it's changing right now. Also, Wells Fargo laid off all its junior auto loan underwriters and capped all future loans. A lot of dealerships are not going to be able to operate, to stay alive without financing like this. Again, they don't buy the inventory with their own money. It's finance, and they need low rates in order to do this. And now it's going to get much, much more expensive. And Capital One shut off all dealer floor plans. So we're going to see dealers go out of business. And that means people that sell cars, people that work at those dealerships repairing cars, processing paperwork, washing cars, delivering cars, they don't have a job. It's done. So we are in a real tsunami here, ladies and gentlemen. So as we head into this weekend, 100 degrees out here in the desert today. So I'm filming indoors. But as we head into the weekend, take this as food for thought. Think about where you're at right now. Do you have a plan? Are you aware of what's happening? What happens if you lost a job next week? If your wife lost a job next week? How long could you stay alive? How long could you make the car payment, the credit card payment, the cell phone payment, the rent payment, the mortgage payment? How long? You need to be building up massive amounts of capital right now, even if it means taking on 2 or 3 side hustles. You need to have some gold, some silver put away. Most of all, you better have security. And most of all, beyond that, you better be walking close to God, because we are heading into a very, very dark period here in U.S. history. This is no doubt spiritual warfare. You better be preparing. You better be walking close to God. And if you are walking close to God, then you know you better have security. You better have all the essentials. You better have the food, the water, the gear, the gold, the silver, everything in between, trauma kits, medical kits, extra vitamins, candles, batteries, anything. Think about this country, how weak we're getting and how vulnerable we are to power outages, grids going down, cyber attacks. If you couldn't access your money for a week, 2 weeks, 30 days, if we see more bank runs, which we will, and you couldn't access cash out of that ATM, if that little plastic card doesn't work, can you eat? Can you survive? And again, this is going to be very, very mental. Think about how many people are on antidepressants right now and other pharmaceuticals. When things like this happen, these people are going to absolutely shut down. They will not be able to function. And of course, with everything happening in China, if those pharmaceuticals, those antidepressants don't arrive, what will people do? Again, this could get very, very out of hand. We've never been in a place like this before. We are in uncharted waters. This isn't to scare anybody today, but this is to raise the alarm, the awareness that things are breaking right now. You need to be preparing. If not for you, do it for your family. If nothing happens, you have extra food, water, essentials, extra cash, extra gold, extra silver. Now, if something does happen, think about if you don't have those things. You're going to be in very, very big trouble. I'm going to leave it there today. Have a great weekend. Take some time, work on the preparations. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Anything we should be adding to our preparations. Anything that we should be aware of. Any threats that you see out there that we should be aware of right now. I say it's people like the people going to Coachella Fest right now who are just partying, who are just spending money on drugs, on alcohol, on festivals, on overpriced hotel rooms. People who are willing to pay $10 for a cup of coffee but don't have an ounce of silver. These are the people that worry me. And most of these are the people living next door to you. These are the people that work with you. Most of the population is completely unprepared. And when they get desperate, when they go hungry, when their kids are starving, you're going to have a very, very serious problem to deal with. So deal with these things right now. Think about what could happen. And I think the more you think about it, the more you're going to want to prepare. God bless all of you. Comment down below. Have a great weekend.